Which three people are considered founding fathers of the United States? Match each characteristic to the correct philosopher. Wrote the second. Treatise on the match each characteristic to the correct philosopher. Wrote the second. Treatise on government. Wrote the commentaries. On the laws of England. Supported the concept of popular sovereignty. Believed that natural law was given to humans by God. Maintained that the government cannot block a citizen's rights to life, property, and liberty. Which two events in Britain indirectly influenced the American Revolution? Which two events in Britain indirectly influenced the American Revolution? Which two? Passage of the English Bill of Rights. The English Peasant Revolution. The election of commoners to Parliament. The Glorious Revolution. The election of commoners to the English Peasant.
The American Revolution. Is that when they sailed the sea, or when they were in America, and if they were... Bill of Rights. Oh, that one sounds familiar. There was a lot of James names around that time. Thomas Hobbes. I don't think it was that one, so I'm gonna guess. I don't think it was John. Maybe it was, say, James? John Locke supported the main ideas in the Bill of Rights. I did read that stuff, I just can't really remember it.
Napoleon introduced many reforms in France to boost its development. He improved the education system. Napoleon introduced many reforms in France to boost its development. He improved the education system by creating lycées. The purpose of lycées was to
Improved education systems. To boost its development. Freedom of religion and abolished feudalism. Sounds a little new age like, so maybe female candidates for government terms. Freedom and a religion. Oh, I don't know this one. Code? Principles. Maybe it's code. Sounds like. But I'm actually not sure.
determine whether the following features belong to the storming of the Bastille or the execution of King. Determine whether the following features belong to the storming of the Bastille or the execution of King Louis.
Storming. Symbolized. Oh, I remember this, I think. Marked the end of absolute monarchy. I think that might be the case. The official beginning. Yeah, that one makes sense, but this. I think this one is this. Maybe. I remember that studying the execution of the power or whatever. But I don't know which one this belongs to. Marked the end. Yeah, I don't think there was any one after him.
What was the impact of the scientific revolution on the power of the Roman Catholic Church? What was the impact of the scientific revolution on the power of the Roman Catholic Church?
No, I don't think so. And presented logical theories that weakened the authority of the church. This sounds kind of right, but let me keep reading. It caused people to reject scientific ideas and to live under the rigid rules of the church. Supported Protestant teachings, undermining the authority of the church. That one. No.
Match each idea to the correct principle of government. Federalism. Separation of powers. Checks and balances.
Divides the powers of the government into different branches. Divides the powers of government between central. Each branch of government has certain powers that prevents abuse of power on the people. Oh, okay. They all sound a little similar, but the bottom one sort of sounds like this, maybe. Alright, separation of power and checks and balances. Well, it could be checks and separate, divides. There's two divides. The power of the government into different branches. So that's like separating. Divides the power of government between federal and state governments. Okay, so federalism is each branch of government has certain powers that prevents the abuse of power on the people. Checks and balances. Wait. Okay. Oh yeah, I was thinking prevents the people. But that one has to be it. Alright, checks and balances. Each branch of government has certain powers. Federalism divides the powers of government, and separation of the powers divides it to different branches.
Enlightenment philosophers established which two of the following ideas? An oligarchy government was best to Enlightenment philosophers established which two of the following ideas? An oligarchy government was best to control it. An oligarchy government was a government can take away people's rights under any circumstances. Governments are given their power by the people. People have the right to change their government. People must follow the religion of their government.
It can take away people's rights. People have the right to change their government. People must follow. Match the rulers of England to their descriptions. Barton. Lewis. I like the name Lewis. Constitutional monarch. It kind of sounds like James and Charles. Oh, monarchs. Okay. I'm just gonna have to guess. I have no idea. James 1, absolute. James 1, constitutional monarch. I do remember these two were pretty powerful. Cromwell. I don't remember anything about Cromwell. What portion of the text reflects the Enlightenment idea of popular sovereignty?
We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Article All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for. How did the English Bill of Rights change the political system in England? A. How did the English Bill of Rights change the political system in England? A. It introduced a constitutional monarch. B. C. D. It gave monarchs the right to veto. E. It guaranteed the right to religion. It guaranteed the. The typical apprenticeship with a Japanese traditional boat builder lasts 6 years, during which an apprentice can expect to spend a lot of time sweeping the shop floor and sharpening tools while watching the master ply his trade. Work is conducted in silence, questions are answered elliptically, if at all, and, by the end, the master will have withheld key pieces of knowledge that the apprentice is expected to acquire through guile or outright theft. Even in Japan, where traditional crafts are revered, this system is too grueling, too much at odds with modern life, to survive. It is no wonder, then, that as a generation of Japanese boatwrights has retired, their knowledge has retired with them. Vermont boat builder Douglas Brooks is trying to ensure that the centuries-old designs for fishing boats and water taxis don't follow these craftsmen to the grave. For more than 2 decades, Brooks has researched traditional boat making in Japan, and has done short, non-traditional apprenticeships to record boat designs. Ordinarily, no Westerner would have the hope of learning in a few weeks what usually takes years of patient observation. The challenge of preserving this art is largely pedagogical, and that's the subject of Ways of Learning, a slide talk Brooks gives through the Vermont Humanities Council's Speakers Bureau. Through his talk, Brooks has stimulated a debate about how traditional craft. Through his talk, Brooks has stimulated a debate about how traditional crafts are handed down. His American audiences expect collegiality and dialogue between student and teacher and are often shocked to hear about the Japanese method. Japanese craftspeople do not teach in a way that's familiar to us as Westerners. Of the 5 In part, that's because the apprentice is meant to develop a set of values as well as a set of skills. Of the 5 masters Brooks has learned from, Only 2 had drawings of their boat designs, and even those were incomplete. Unless an apprentice was the master's son, he could expect to have to steal essential pieces of knowledge from the master, either by sneaking into the shop to take measurements or by some other subterfuge. One master told Brooks of how he applied his own master with sake to unlock. When Brooks learned to braid the hoops that hold together a terabune, the traditional tugboat still used for gathering shellfish and seaweed off Japan's Sado Island, his teacher, then the last man still making the boats, gave him the long bamboo strands and walked away. I remember the hairs going up on the back of my neck when my teacher dropped those strips in my lap and said braid, Brooks says. It was, he adds, the most focused, concentrated moment of my life. Traditional apprentices developed a thorough understanding of the task at hand, typically the construction of a single type of boat. The people who come through this kind of process possess just
So they're probably like are surprised because this whole thing is like kind of
the people who come through this kind of process possess just extraordinary skills. That's the result of those 6 years.
they're so surprised.
They would talk about their craft with a commitment and a sense of identity that you never hear in the West, he says.
Is strange.
But there's also something to be said for the ease of the American way of transmitting knowledge. We just water down everything, but we sure are plucky and democratic about it, Brooks said. He once taught a student in a more Western way how to braid the terabune hoops, and in 20 minutes he was braiding hoops. Brooks also has written a book on how to make a terabune.
Yeah, that's true. How does the author develop the overall claim in this passage?
The author includes details that show that
Developers are the biggest problem for destruction historically. In the destruction. That the government could intervene in the destruction of historically. Did it say that?
over the past several years, this destruction is often performed with the thought that it is the property that holds the true value, not the structure. Likewise, homeowners have begun to value their property's location over the house they have spent many years living in. Little regard is given to the pain. Little regard is given to the painstaking details and craftsmanship that went into these buildings, nor the innate beauty of hand-carved woodwork and ornamentation. Out with the old, in with the new has resulted in people no longer appreciating the history and artistic integrity of our country's oldest buildings and failing to realize that once the new is brought in, the old is lost to us forever. It is bad enough that developers and private citizens are blind to the beauty around them. What is worse is that local governments refuse to step in.
I think I'm right, because that one doesn't exactly fit it. That rice milk. I think that's right. I mean, sounds right. It could be this one though, too. Oh. Homeowners. Did it say oh, it says homeowners, not developers, right? Have begun to value the property's location over the... Oh, maybe it's homeowners instead. That's the key word I'm seeing. I don't really know what the difference between the two is. It's very expensive. No, it's not that. I mean, they also did mention, but they say that the government refuses. Local governments refuse to step in. Local governments could intervene. Yes, it's one of these two. I think it could be homeowner since it's the key word. Oh, I'm so close to being done too. How does the author develop? Based on the passage, what is the best inference that can be made about steel? Which detail best shapes the idea that the Japanese art of boat building may be lost to future generations?
The work is conducted in 9. Work is conducted.
The art of being lost. Seems to too much at odds with modern life to survive. For more than 2 decades, it might be that one. Sounds right to me. What the heck? Yeah, it's definitely this.